Hello, everybody. All right, so we're going to continue with chapter 8. And in today's lesson, problem solving, use multiplication. Our essential question is how can you use the strategy and draw a diagram to help you solve fraction division problems by writing a multiplication sentence? So we're on page 361 of the fifth grade Go Math textbook. So Erica makes 6 submarine sandwiches and cuts each sandwich into thirds. How many 1/3 size sandwich pieces does she have? Well, what do I need to find? I need to find out how many 1/3 sandwich pieces she has. So what do I need to use? I need to use the size of each of the sandwiches, or each of the pieces, right? Each piece of the sandwich and the number of sandwiches she cuts. We're going to use a strategy draw diagram. That's going to help us to organize the information from the problem, and then I can use the organized information to find the number of 1/3 size pieces. So we're going to draw a diagram to find the number of 1/3 size pieces she has after cutting the 6 sandwiches. So since she has 6 submarine sandwiches, my diagram needs to show 6 rectangles to represent the sandwiches. And I'm going to divide each of those 6 rectangles into thirds. Why thirds? Because it says they're going to be 1/3 size pieces. So if we just had one sandwich, we'd break it into 3 pieces. All right, well, to find the total number of thirds in the 6 rectangles, I can just simply multiply the number of thirds in each rectangle by the number of rectangles. So there's 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. So there's 3 pieces in every one of these, right? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, which is the same as saying 6 times 3. How many 1/3 pieces are there in every whole? 3. So if there's 3 pieces in every hole, then 3 times 6 will give me the total number of pieces. So there's 18 1/3 pieces in the 6 submarine sandwiches. All right, let's try another one. All right, so Roberto is cutting 3 blueberry pies into halves to give to his neighbors. How many neighbors will get half of a pie? All right, so we have 3 pies. We're cutting them into halves, and we need to find out how many neighbors get half of a pie. All right. What information do I need to use? I need to use the size of each pie, slice, and the number of pies that he's cutting. So we need to know the size of each piece of pie, which in this case are halves, and the number of pies Roberto's cutting, which is 3. So I'm going to draw a diagram to help me organize the information. Then we can use the diagram to figure out the number of total pieces, or the number of neighbors that are going to get 1/2. All right, so let's use circles this time. Okay, so we're going to use the diagram to find the number of neighbors that will get half of a pie. So we have 3 pies, and each neighbor, or he's going to cut them into halves, right? So 1/2, 1/2, 1/2, 1/2, 1/2, 1/2. So we're taking the 3 pies, dividing them into halves. Well, that's the same as saying how many halves are in every whole. So if there's 2 halves in every whole, then there has to be 6 1/2 pieces. So he's going to give 6 neighbors. Well, how does the diagram we drew help us to write the multiplication sentence? Well, this shows we have 3 groups of 2 halves. So basically, the diagram shows us 3 groups of 2 halves. So we can use multiplication. There's 3 groups, 2 halves in every piece. So there's 6 halves. All right, page 363, number 1. A chef has 5 blocks of butter. Each block weighs 1 pound. She cuts each block into fourths. How many 1/4 pound pieces of butter does the chef have? All right, well, let's draw rectangles to represent the blocks of butter. All right, and now we're going to take each of those blocks and cut them into fourths. All right, so we've cut each of the blocks of butter into fourths. So we're basically saying 5 divided by 1/4. Well, that's the same as saying 5 times how many fourths are in one whole. Well, there's 4, right? So if there's 4 1/4 pieces in every block, well, 5 times 4. So 20. So the chef has 20 1/4 pound pieces of butter. Right, number 2. What if the chef had 3 blocks of butter and cuts the blocks into thirds? How many 1/3 pound pieces of butter would the chef have? So we're saying 3. Okay, so we have 3 blocks of butter cut into 1/3 pieces. So basically we're saying 3 divided by 1/3 pieces. So that's the same as saying 3 times, there's 3 1/3 pieces in every hole, so 3 times 3, 9. You would have 9 1/3 pound pieces. All right, number 3. Holly cuts 3 ribbons into eighths for a craft project. How many 1/8 size pieces of ribbon does she have? So 3 ribbons cut into 8 size pieces. All right, so 3 divided by 1/8. Well, there's 8 1/8 pieces in every hole, so 3 times 8, 24. Okay, number 4. Jason has 2 pizzas that he cuts into fourths. How many 1/4 pieces slices does he have? Well, we can use circles for this one. There's our 2 pizzas. He cuts them into fourth size pieces. And so basically we're saying take your 2 pieces and divide them into 1/4 size pieces. How many 1/4 size pieces are there? Well, there's 4 in every hole. So 2 times 4 is 8. And number 5. Thomas makes 5 sandwiches that he cuts into thirds. So 5 sandwiches divided into 3 pieces each is the same as 5 times 3. So 15. 15 1/3 size pieces. Okay. Number 6. Julie wants to make a drawing that is a fourth the size of the original drawing. Sahil makes a drawing that is a third the size of the original. A tree in the original drawing is 12 inches tall. What will be the difference between the height in Julie's and Sahil's drawing? So we have a tree that is 12 inches tall. One is going to be broken into 1/4 size pieces, and the other is going to be broken into 1/3 size pieces. So basically we're looking at 12 divided by a third and 12 divided by a fourth. Okay, well, I'm sorry, I wrote that incorrectly. That's not a division problem on this one. So let's relook at this. 1/4 of the original. 1/4 of 12. 1/3 of 12. So 1/4 of 12 would be 1/4 times 12. And 1/3 of 12 would be 1/3 of 12. So 12 times 1 is 12. Divide by 4. 12 times 1 is 12. Divide by 3. 12 divided by 4 equals 3. And 12 divided by 3 equals 4. So Sahil's drawing is 4 inches tall. So it will be a difference of 1 inch. 4 take away 3 equals 1. Right, number 7. 3 friends go to a book fair. Alan spends $2.60. Maria spends 4 times as much as Alan. Akio spends $3.45 less than Maria. How much does Akio spend? All right, well, let's see. Alan equals $2.60. Maria spends 4 times as much. So she's going to go $2.60 times 4. And Akio is $3.45 less than Maria. So Maria minus $3.45. All right. Well, let's figure out how much 4 times $2.60 is. 4 times 0 is 0, obviously. 4 times 6 tenths is 24 tenths, which we can regroup as 2 wholes and 4 tenths. 4 times 2 ones is 8 ones, plus 2 more is 10. So Maria spent $10.40. Now we know Akio spent $3.45 less than her. So $6.95. Akio spent $6.95. Right, number 8. Brianna has a sheet of paper that is 6 feet long. She cuts the length of paper into sixths and then cuts the lengths of these into 1/6 size pieces. Or 1/6 pieces into thirds. How many pieces does she have? Well, all right. So if we have a sheet of paper that's 6 feet long, and she cuts the length of paper into 6 equal sections. All right, so 6 equal pieces. Each of those pieces is basically a foot long at this point. But now she takes each of those sixths and divides them into 3 more pieces. So she takes each of the 6 pieces and divides them into thirds. So that should be 18 pieces, right? So 18 pieces. And she started with 6 feet. So 6 feet is 72 inches, and we're going to divide by 18. Okay. 4 times 8 is 32. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 more is 72. So 4 inches long. So what did we do? We took the 6 feet and divided it into 1 foot size pieces. Okay. So we had 6 1 foot size pieces. We then divided the 6 by 3, by 1/3 pieces, I mean. Okay. Then there's 12 inches in every foot. So if you take a 12 inches and divide by 3 pieces, each piece would be 4. All right, so look back at problem 8. Write a similar problem by changing the length of the paper. All right, well, let's see. All right, let's see. Brianna, I'm going to have a sheet of paper that's 3 feet. I'm saying she's going to cut them into change the length and the size of the pieces. All right, let's cut these pieces. Cuts the lengths, then cuts the lengths into thirds. Then cuts each of the 1/3 pieces into fifths. All right, so let's see if we can figure this one out. I don't know why I put Brianna's. Brianna has a sheet of paper that is 3 feet long. Okay, so we changed the size of the paper from 6 to 3. We're still going to cut the length of it into thirds, or I'm going to cut this one into thirds, and I'm going to cut each of the 1/3 pieces into fifths. So how many pieces does she have, and how long is each piece? So let's take our paper, okay, and we divide it into thirds. We're going to then take each of those thirds and break it into 5 pieces. So if there's 5 pieces in 1/3 or 5/5, right? Then there's going to be 15 of the 1/5 pieces. So how much would we have? All right, so let me back up here. I'm sorry. So we took one of the thirds, all right? So 1/3 of every of the 3 feet. So this would be 12 inches, 12 inches, 12 inches. Okay? Because a third of 3 feet is 12 inches each. So there's a total of 36 inches, but now we're going to take that 1/3, that 12, and split it into 5 equal sections. So we have 36 divided by 15 total pieces. Okay, 12, 24, 36. And we're going to divide that by 15 pieces because there's 5/5 in every one of these 1/3 pieces. If we take a third and break it into 5 pieces, there would be 15 total pieces. So 36 divided by 15. That's going to be 2 and 6/15. I can divide 6/15 by 3, and so I would get 2 and 2/5 inches long. And there would be 15 pieces. Fifteen pieces that are 2.5 inches long. 2 and 2/5 inches long. All right, number 10. Adrian made 3 granola bars. He cut each granola bar into fourths. All right, how many 1/4 size pieces of granola does Adrian have? Draw lines in the model to find the answer. Well, 3 divided by 1/4 is basically 3 times 4/4 in every hole. 3 times 4 is 12. All right, so in our next lesson, we're going to work on connecting fractions to division. So until then, I will see you soon.